everybody. This is Mac Tachio from Washington, D.C. We are having a show here. And for this show, we are interviewing Mark Slaughter, the iconic Mark Slaughter. A great time, Mark. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Just sitting in my studio making a little bit of noise. It was all good. Just having fun.
Awesome, Mark. The previous record is more romantic, which is pretty cool. But halfway there is a little bit more aggressive and emotional at the same time. So, what triggered the difference? And you were saying that...
I do with what the song asked for. And when I wrote the songs on my first record, it was just the songs I had. The second record, I wrote things a little bit more aggressive. I think that's just where I was. I was just in more of an aggressive writing mode. If you have a song that is like, if you do something that's really aggressive like that, you want to have something that empowers that. So you wouldn't write a love song to that. You do with what that riff asked for. That song is just like it's a party anthem. It's much like Kiss, and that side of it, it's just that energy and that fun, good time. And so for that song, Hey You, that's what I wrote for. It was just more about the experience of that song. It wasn't romantic. It was what the song asked for. So as a writer, producer, guitar player, singer, all the above, and what I do, I just do what the song asks for on whatever record I'm working on.
That's so cool. And let me take you back many years ago with Sticky to Ya, right? The first record of Slaughter. So that is a very powerful record, right? So my question is, how you were coming from a different aspect as a musician, right? You were working for somebody else, and now you're doing your own project, and suddenly you guys are famous. That record is like amazing, and it's unbelievable. How you guys felt about it? I think that for us, we were very lucky to be on the first Kiss tour, which is, for us, that was our first one. And Hot in the Shade, that was our first tour. The band never played live before that, so it was the first time we had played live. And, for us, the experience, it was just a lot of fun.
Slaughter! First of all, we'd like to thank our record label, Chrysalis. We'd like to thank Bud Carr Management.
We need to thank the fans for making it happen, man.
Yeah! And I'd like to make a special thanks to Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley from Kiss for believing in us and giving us our first tour. Thanks. Believe, visualize, world peace, and it'll happen. God bless. Thanks.
Fun record. Rock radio was rock radio. People used to go to concerts. It was just, it's a different mindset than where it is today. And again, life changes, music changes. But at that point in time, it was just, you didn't have the internet. Some people think that they can see, a real concert experience on YouTube, and you just can't see it on YouTube. You got to be in it. You got to smell it, taste it, feel it, and be in the motion and in the audience. So, it's just it's a different time. It's a different time. That record to us is, certainly means a lot to us. We play a lot of those songs still to this day live because, we don't run from where we came from. But, for me, making records this is what I love. Whether it's successful or not, or sells a zillion records or sells, 50,000. It's what I enjoy doing as an art form. And if you make art, it's not about the dollar.
Go!
What is that? It's just jamming or something?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I just tend to play in the background. I'm just sitting here, just kind of. I talk and play at the same time.
My guitar with me. Mark, talking about experiences, you just said that it's not the same a YouTube video of a concert that going to the concert and being live there, feeling the energy of a band, So tell me about the expos, because the expos add a little bit more of that, not only music, but you can interact with the artist.
Well, I think that it's a chance to say hello and it's a great experience as an artist, because you get to see your old friends. A lot of the guys are in the room. We haven't seen each other or been in the same room in a long time. So I think that's the other part of it is, in life, you savor every moment, you savor the friendships, you savor the people that put you where you were and are. And
we appreciate all you have done for rock and roll, and it means a lot for us. We grew up with that. A lot of happy moments,
I have met a lot of people from South America, and they've always been passionate. I think if you're going to ever say, I'm sure Bobby would agree, that of a fan from Argentina or from South
Brazil,
it is always passionate is the key word. So thank you for your passion. Makes life a lot better for all of us, and keep on rocking.
It's one of those things I just really enjoy. Slaughter was a very fan-oriented band. When we were with Kiss, we'd bring a lot of people backstage and overfill our many aspects of how we did it. We brought a lot more people back than we should have, but we love that experience. We love to give that to fans of what we would want as a music fan. And I think that's one thing that I never forget. And Dana and I always, talked about when we put Slaughter together with the other guys and say, look, man, you're going to meet a lot of people. If you can't be nice, you need to just step out the door, because, it's about those relationships that you carry a lifetime.
First of all, I just wanted to say thanks to Mark and Blas for being so nice to me when I met them at Tower Records on Long Island. And it was really special to me because you didn't treat me just like a fan. You treat me like a friend. So it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, talking about relationship, what is your relationship now with Dana? Are you guys talking frequently? You guys just get together for projects specifically?
I talk to Dana probably every other day.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes it's like, did you see the news, or what's going on, or what's happening at home, or, kind of checking up. And he's doing a lot of shows with Vince Neil right now. Yeah. My whole band is. Yeah. And as they're doing that, I have this in my hand. And in fact, here's a guitar I built, wow. So I have a lot of things that I occupy my time in making music or making instruments to make music. It's a love that I have, and I carry it through when I'm at home. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, talking about that, Mark, Bobby Rock, he just put a book out there in the market. It's called The Boys on a Rock. His first chapter, he talks about, the moment he realized he was a drummer. When you're a kid, and you're playing, you go from playing an instrument, for fun, until, you realize, and Bobby remembers the exact moment when he says, I'm going to do a living out of it. Do you remember that time?
Well, when I was a young kid, I used to sing along with Beatles records and the Monkees and the Sweet, and I was really driven. In fact, one of my behavioral things that my parents would do is, if I kept my room clean and I was a good kid, they would give me a record at the end of the week. So I was always on great behavior, and I'd get my 45 or my LP, and I'd listen to that record until I wore it out. I mean, I always had a love for music. It wasn't something that I said, this is the moment. I know I'm going to do this. There was times I loved singing. I loved it when I started playing guitar and got bit by that bug, and I'm still learning today as a musician. I mean, you never stop learning.
Yes.
So,
do you remember when you were a kid playing guitar? What was your favorite song to play? You say you played with the Beatles.
Yeah, I played. I listened. I sang with the Beatles records. I think one of the, I played like, one of the first riffs I learned was, that was one of the first riffs I learned. And I was, of course that's that standard thing that everybody learns. But, and then Queen came out, and then it just changed a lot of the different things of the style and how you do things. And they're stacking vocals. And then Boston came along, and which were just brilliantly recorded records. And I think that I went from liking the riffs to getting into what I loved about the detail of the records. Like I'd listen to a record and go, wow, that's Freddie Mercury, but there's Roger Taylor singing on top, and there's a whole bunch of other Roger Taylors and Freddie Mercurys, and I realized they're multi-tracking and making this bigger sound. That was probably one of the biggest moments to me, to go, wow, you mean you can be your own choir? That's pretty cool. Wow. So, a lifetime I've sung my own backgrounds and been a part of it, and sang backgrounds on many other people's records. And when we were on tour with Kiss, I would sneak in the backside and turn on a mic and sing along with Kiss. And and Paul Stanley was awesome. He was just like, anytime you want to sing, Mark, you're always welcome. Just, how cool is that to grow up listening to this type of music, and then have, an iconic rock and roll guy who, is certainly one of my peers, but, that says, you're always welcome. What a concept.
Absolutely.
It was a very, 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 again, they've always been great to me. Yeah. Love those guys.
What are 2 or 3 musicians that you love to play with, other than your musicians of your band, or outside of your universe? Who do you play with that is memorable for you, or you loved it?
I think probably one of the most memorable shows, that was a radio show, and it was Roger Glover from Deep Purple on bass. It was John Waite. It was Robin Zander, Anna Nancy Wilson, Bloss on drums, and Jeff Watson on guitar. And we just got up and played a bunch of covers and at this radio thing. And, look, I love Ann Wilson. I think she's a great, phenomenal artist. But, I think that was probably one of the most memorable things, because I loved Heart. It was one of my first concerts I saw. I have a love for their music, a love for the people. And so that was probably, one of the cooler things for me. Nice. And again, not many people give those girls credit, but, they are just freaking awesome. I put them right up in the book with any of the guys along the way. I think they're awesome.
Slaughter! Do you remember any of the covers that you played with those guys?
We did Rock and Roll. We did Keep on Rockin' in the Free World. We did a Stones song. I think it was Brown Sugar. And it was just an impromptu jam. But it's like, I think that again, music is the love of the music. We all love it, and you see the passion that people carry in the music over the years is still do it. I know that Paul is doing a lot of art nowadays as far as visual art. And, I respect that. It's no different than what Bobby's doing as a writer. We're multi-dimensional people in what we do.
Exactly.
I'm a producer, writer, engineer, in my home, and voiceovers and the things that I do, making music for television and everything else. So, I might have some songs that I go, that's not good enough for a record, but it's good enough for television,
Yeah.
And I'm critical enough to know what's good enough to put on a record and what shouldn't be on a record.
Yeah, why you decided to do television? That's something that not all the musicians take as a side project. Why that? Is that something specific? Just pay the bills, or something that you wanted to explore?
No, it's one of those things. Let's put it this way: you can take your overflow of ideas and go, "This is a good idea, but it's not great." So you can take a good idea and dress it up and put it on television, and it makes you great money. So why not make great money off a good idea?
Absolutely.
As opposed to, and if you're making a record, you use the better material on your own record.
Cool. Awesome, Mark. Was one of the best crowd you in another country that you can remember?
Well, look, Mexico was an amazing crowd. We played in Mexico at the Big Bull Ring in Mexico City. That was this energetic crowd. Unfortunately, I haven't made it to Argentina. I've been to Peru, and they were wonderful people. It was great, but that's the closest I've been to that area. Or in Brazil, I haven't been to Brazil, and I don't know what it is, if it's the promoters or why I've never made it over that way. But I've been to Japan, I've been to Reykjavik, Iceland, to Sweden, to Germany, to the UK, to I've been around the world, but I haven't been to. There's a lot of places I haven't been, and. But I know the fans in Argentina are very passionate, and I've heard from many of them through the years that have written either the fan club or me on my page, or it's made it to where the world's a little bit closer, and because of social media, to where you can be in touch with people. So that changed a lot.
Yeah. It's a song, and I remember that blew my mind. Like What's Alive, rock and roll, and Led Zeppelin. That kind of bands are your pillars in your life.
It's your music is that you listen to also becomes your soundtrack. It becomes your environment of not only your memories, but of who you are. So, Led Zeppelin to me was when I was young and I would go to the lake, which is close to my house in Vegas. And, it was it was being in just a really cool, chill place. That's what that music was to me. Same thing with AC/DC. It was the party. It was the good times. Black Sabbath, even though, people are like, it's so heavy. That was fun to me. I fell asleep with those Black Sabbath records with headphones on. You know, it's a love of that type of music. And, you know, it's just like when I opened for Alice Cooper, when I was, you know, my first tour with VVI, was an amazing experience because I was an Alice Cooper fan. And then our next tour was with Iron Maiden. I'm like, oh, no way. I love I saw Maiden for the first time with Bruce Dickinson when he played in the United States for the first time. So, you know, again, it's the love of that music. I was just as happy as you would be being there as a part of the show, but I was playing with these people like, wow, check it out. There's Nico, he's awesome. Yeah. And there's Bruce Dickinson, that's awesome. You know, it's just like, you know, you're friends with these people, but here's the truth, man. I love their music. It made me who I am, you know?
That is unreal, man. That's every guy's dream, you know, to be with
sure, yeah.
In that environment, you know.
Yeah, and when we did our last show with Nico, and he was playing drums and I'm playing air drums, and he's throwing sticks at me on the side of the stage, and you know, again, it's really cool when you love somebody's music and they're the person that you wish they were and they are.
Awesome.
It's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
So cool, Mark.
Same thing with Alice. I just love Alice. Great people. That's what we do as entertainers. And then as an entertainer, like Kiss has done for that many years since I was a snot-nosed kid, they went out and they did shows and they entertained and they entertained and they entertained. And they're going to come up and they're going to do another few years of entertainment. And, you know, God bless these guys for the amount of years that they've gone out there and given it their all. And I challenge anybody to go out there and do what Paul Stanley does on a nightly basis of giving it all, because that guy he busts his ass. He busts his ass for the fans. And I know it's hard. You know, it's hard for him to meet everybody and do all the things that he needs to do, but ultimately he gives it where it counts, which is as a performer. And that's what an entertainer does.
Tried to convince myself that the pain is still lost. Just as down this lonely, lonely road. Oh, I got this feeling. Oh,